All right, here we go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. 54 people in here. Wow. Good job. Keep spreading the news. Keep growing the group, guys. Love that. So today I'm going to talk to you about something we've talked about before, but I'm going to give you a lot more in-depth information on this. Uh, Strategic pricing. I've been talking about this for years, and a lot of you have asked, where did the information come from? Because doing a supply and demand analysis for something, for example, is not something that is taught in a lot of different places. So I'm going to tell you where it came from. It came from this book. If you don't have Shift, get it and go right to page 135. Price ahead of the market, seller pricing strategies. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share a document with you guys that I created for you guys. If you want a copy of this, just email me, coachjohnbeats@gmail.com, and I'll send you a copy. So here we go. All right, you should be looking at, give me a second here. You should be looking at a document that starts with strategies to sell homes quickly. Raise your hand if that's what you're looking at, so I know we're good to go. I got a thumbs up. Thank you for that. Let's do it. All right, so let me change my screen because this is in my way and I can't see. Here we go. All right, so study the market every day to master the science and skill of pricing. The most successful agents become masters of the skill and science of pricing. Shift page 138. You are making an observation and a forecast. The observation is the science. Pay really close attention, okay, guys? The observation is the science of current market pricing. This requires thorough fact-based analysis. So as a real estate agent, you have three jobs. Those three jobs is you are the local economist of choice. You are a strategic pricing professional, and you are a fierce negotiator. The observation is the science of current market pricing. This requires thorough fact-based analysis. This is all about becoming the local economist of choice. This is what makes you stand out from the competition. The forecast is a developed skill. The skill of forecasting is an inexact ability to predict market direction and speed. Where is the market going based on what you're seeing? Where is the market going? And this conversation, this question depends on location, it depends on price, it depends on what type of property we're talking about. So for example, if you're in Miami and you're selling condos, you've got a 2 to 3 year supply of inventory. If you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you're selling single family homes, you might have less than 60 days of inventory. So the conversation is different in Miami in the condo market than it is in Charlotte, North Carolina for single family homes. Pick a neighborhood or zip code and study the number of active listings. New pending sales, days on market for the active listings, pending sales, and solds. These are all things that you need to be looking at in order to be the local economist of choice. Look for trends. How does the days on market for active listings compare to the pending contract? What's the days on market for solds with a price reduction versus those that got up the price rate the first time? How is bedrooms, amenities, and locations affecting demand? So let me give you an example. If you're in a neighborhood that is predominantly 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage homes, and you've got a home in that neighborhood that's a 2-bedroom home, is that home going to be more difficult to sell? The answer is yes, it is. Because you're in a neighborhood that's predominantly 3-bedroom homes, which means buyers that are looking at that neighborhood are looking for 3-bedroom homes, and you're selling a home that's 2 bedrooms, it's going to make a difference. What impact does new construction having on existing home sales? Good question, right? So Bunny Trail, and then just put out an article that's kind of interesting that talks about new construction pricing based on the tariffs that are coming out of Canada, worth looking into. Just Bunny Trail, and you guys should do some research on that. Okay. What are buyers looking for? Here's what they're looking for. They're looking for location, updates, amenities. For example, what's the difference in selling a home with a pool versus homes without a pool? So we talk a lot about pools because I live in Florida, and we're selling real estate in Florida. Buyers are looking for a pool. If you have a home that, for example, if you have a home that is, let's say it's $750,000 to $800,000, you expect that home is going to have a pool. Now, there may be a home in the neighborhood that you're selling that doesn't have a pool. Is it going to be more difficult to sell? Yes, it is. Even when the seller tells you, well, I don't really want a pool. I don't use a pool. It's a pain in the butt to take care of. It doesn't really matter what you like because you're not buying your home. What matters is buyers that are looking for homes between $750,000 and $800,000 in this area are looking for pools. So if you don't have a pool, it's going to be more difficult to sell that home. With forecasting, what causes prices to drop? What signs should you look for? Where is the market going to be in 6 months and why? Really good question. You should spend some time on that question. Use supply and demand to help sellers self-discover the right pond to go fishing in and fish with your bait in the water. So what am I saying here? It's in the notes, and I'm sure I'm gonna be repetitive here because I'm gonna share this with you again. But if you're looking at a home, let's say, for example, between 650 and 700 or 700 and 750, you got two different ponds. You got two different markets. You can either market your home between 650 and 700, or you can market your home between 700 and 750. And where you choose to market your home is going to depend what buyers you attract. It's also going to depend what your competition is. And in which one of those markets do you have the best chance of being the shining star? All right, focus on strategy, not price. Run a supply and demand analysis in a 2 to 3 mile radius of the subject property. By the way, here it is in writing. If for all of you who have been taking notes over the last 6 months when I share the strategic pricing conversation, you've got it right here in front of you. If you want a copy of this, email me, coachjohndietz@gmail.com, and I'll send you a copy of the document we're working on today. Look in $25,000 to $50,000 price blocks. For example, 550 to 600 versus 600 to 650. All right, here's the math equation. A is active listings between 550 and 600 in the last 6 months. That's an example, just so you guys know. Okay, so active listings between 550 and 600. B is sold listings. And this is in a 2 to 3 mile radius, by the way. Why in a 2 to 3 mile radius? Because that's how buyers are looking. Sellers think that a buyer is only looking at homes in their neighborhood. So when sellers are having conversations with you, Matthew, and they're talking about their competition, they're going to be focusing on the neighborhood. Here's a challenge with that. The buyer's not focused on the neighborhood. The buyer's looking at homes outside their neighborhood. Your job is to help them understand this. So you want to look within a 2 to 3 mile radius of the subject property. How many active listings are there between 550 and 600,000? What are the sold listings between 550 and 600 in the last 6 months? Same 2 to 3 mile radius. That's B. C is B divided by 6. In other words, the number of homes selling every 30 days. C is going to tell you how many homes are selling every 30 days in that same price range, 550 to 600,000. D, you're going to take A divided by C. That's going to tell you how many months of inventory you have. All right, using the supply and demand in this formula in real life. Here it is. So you've got 9 active listings between 550 and 600,000, 18 sold in the last 6 months. 3 are selling every 30 days. We get that simply by taking B and dividing it by 6. That's C in the math formula. It's B divided by 6 equals the number of homes selling every 30 days. And in this example, we would have 3 homes selling every 30 days. The last part of the math formula is take A and divide it by C, and you get 3 months of inventory. Okay, Matthew Kemps, talk to me.
Why 6? We got 12 months of the year. Well, I'm trying, just help me understand that.
Yeah, really, because the answer, Matthew, is simply because it's a math equation and you need enough data in order to do the math.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. In order to sell between 550 and 600,000, we have to be one of the top 3 properties on location, condition, and price. 3 homes selling every 30 days with 9 active listings doesn't mean that they will all sell in the next 90 days. Why? Because new listings are coming on the market. The more likely scenario as inventory increases is that 30 days from now, 3 listings will sell and there will be 4 new listings on the market. You need to explain this to sellers because they don't get it. They're looking at this and saying, well, that's good news, John. I've got, 9 active listings, 3 are selling every 30 days. I'll sell in the next 90 days. Well, no, you won't, because in the next 30 days, when 3 homes are selling, 4 new listings are hitting the market. You need to help them understand that. The only way to beat the competition in this market is to price below the competition and price where the market is going in the next 30 days. All right, so you've got 2 different sides of this model. You have solds on the left and actives on the right. When you're in a market where there's less than 90 days of inventory, you're on the left side of this picture. When you're in a market where there's more than 90 days of inventory, you're on the right side of this model. What does that mean? When there's less than 90 days of inventory, you're going to price based on the solds. When there's more than 90 days of inventory, you're going to price based on the actives. Hang in there. We're going to keep going. So we've got 0 to 60 days on the market. We're talking about ceilings and floors now, guys. So price based on the new ceiling versus a new floor. When you've got 0 to 60 days of inventory, the last home that sold creates a new floor, meaning the next home is going to sell for more money. However, when you get into a market where there's more than 90 days of inventory, the last home that sold creates a new ceiling, which means the next home that sells is going to sell for less. That goes back to this model right here. All right. Outscript your sellers. Remember, sellers go to script school too. The most common scripts you're going to hear from the sellers is, can't we try 700 and then lower the price later? A buyer can always make an offer. I'm not going to give my home away. I need the money. You need to spend more money on marketing. Those are their scripts. Your job is to outscript them. So from page 138 of Shift, a market shift underscores the importance of pricing and exposes cavalier agents who don't give pricing strategies research attention and serious thought. So by the way, who are the cavalier agents? Most real estate agents fall into that category. And when I say most, I'm talking 90% plus. Very few agents spend any time on learning how to master this. The most successful agents, okay, now this is the 10% who master this. The most successful agents become masters of pricing and masterful in getting their sellers to trust the findings and act on them. So what does that mean to you? Explain masterful in getting their sellers to trust the findings and act on them. It's the art of persuasion, guys. There's your answer to that question. It's the art of persuasion. Your job is to make an observation. This is what I see. To make a forecast. This is what's happening based on what I see. And then the art of persuasion is having a conversation with somebody in such a way that you'll help them make a new decision based on new information. In other words, when a seller says, I need this price, and you help them understand that you can't price based on what you need to price based on beating the competition. You're helping your sellers understand what they need to do in order to beat the competition. It's the art of persuasion. Sean, talk to me.
Yeah, usually what I don't say it's my opinion. When I come up with the data, I say, look, it's not me talking. This is what the market's saying.
Right.
This is what the data's saying. Don't believe me, believe the data.
That's right. Here, write this down, everybody. Let the data do your heavy lifting. All right, buyers are always looking for value. Always. Doesn't matter what kind of market you're in, buyers are looking for value. So are you guys. It doesn't matter what you're buying, you're looking for value. They want the best property at the best price. Shift doesn't change this. It actually accentuates it because of the direction and speed at which a buyer thinks prices are going. As an agent, your job is to advise your sellers on the correct pricing strategy to sell their home and also on the general pricing of the market. You are making an observation and a forecast. The observation of current pricing is the science, and forecast is the skill. For sellers at a shift, the need for an agent who has mastered the science, the skill, and art of pricing becomes critical. The essence of the right pricing strategy is identifying the right comparable properties. Oh boy, I'm going to slow down and really park on that for a moment. Where you price your home depends on who you're competing with. You need to find the right competition. You're either going to sell the competition or the competition is going to sell you. You've got to choose a price which is going to cause you to be the shining star. All right, so what makes a property comparable? All right, so here you go. When you're looking at comparables, there's four main factors: location, size, amenities, and condition. On size, my rule that I've always followed is 10%. A comparable property is within 10% of the subject property. So if I have a subject property that is 33,000 square foot, for example, I'm looking at homes from 2,700 square foot to 3,300 square foot. If they don't fall within that range, then they're not comparable. Now, super important, not in your notes, but very important. When you go on the appointment, bring every single property that's sold in that neighborhood, because you don't want to leave any stones unturned. And you also don't want to be caught looking like you don't know what you're doing. You never want a seller to say, well, what about the home over there on XYZ Street? You don't have that property with you. Bring it with you and then show them this one isn't comparable, so we're not going to use it. All right. You also want to factor when it's sold and when pending. Call the listing agent for every sold and ask them, how many offers did you receive? Did the price include any concessions going back to the buyer? What's different about the market today compared to when the comparable property sold? You could be looking at a property that sold 3 months ago. And the market today could be very different than 3 months ago. You need to take that in consideration when you're pricing. If you price based on properties that sold 3 months ago, you might miss the mark. Put all of the active listings between 700 and 725 and ask the buyer, including your home, if you were the buyer, which property would you make an offer on? Why? Do the same thing for properties priced between 675 and 700 and ask them again. Now, which property would you make an offer on? I guarantee you their answer to my home will always be in the lower price range. It's the shining star principle. It's competing against lesser competition versus competing against better competition. The goal is to determine the right price and position in order to beat the competition. Where do we have the best chance of being the shining star? We want to be in the top third in location, amenities, and condition, and bottom third in price. So in this model, let me move you guys' picture again. In this model, if you look at the bottom side, the bottom of the model, it says condition. The farther to the left you are on condition, the higher you are on price. The farther to the right you are in condition, the lower you are in price. Factors that make it more difficult to sell in a shift. All right, we're almost done here. Busy street is going to make it more difficult. If I'm a buyer and I have 10 homes to choose from versus 3 homes to choose from, and I'm looking at a property on a busy street, why would I buy that property on a busy street when there's another home in the same neighborhood in a better location at the same price? Well, the answer is you won't. So if you're the seller of that home on a busy street, how do you beat the competition? Price. It has to be a deal. You've got industrial commercial properties in proximity, no garage. So again, same question. If I've got 10 homes to choose from, all 10 of them I like, and one of them doesn't have a garage, why would I buy the home without a garage when the others have a garage? I wouldn't. So how do you fix that? Price, functional obsolescence. High price homes miss in amenities. We talked about this a little while ago. We expect to find in high price homes. Solution: price fixes everything. The best way to truly serve a seller in a shift or persuade them to outthink the other sellers they must compete against. When the buyers pull back, successful sellers must be persuaded to step out in front. They must price ahead of the market. All right, bonus material we'll leave for another day. All right, guys, talk to me. By the way, if
John,
you want a copy of that, coachjohndietz@gmail.com. coachjohndietz@gmail.com. Kevin, talk to me.
The other day, actually, I went into MLS and took a look at 30 days of expired listings just for the hell of it. And that kind of speaks about getting ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
And what I noticed is really kind of remarkable. Very few sellers are relisting with different agents at a lower price. They're still relisting either at the same price they expired or canceled, or even at a higher price by $10,000 to $20,000. So apparently the reasoning for that is either the agent was not, sufficiently strong enough to bring the price down, or the sellers are thinking, because we are in February now, we are already in spring market. But then what's going to happen. Whenever buyers are looking at the property, or agents, they will always look at the history of the property, and there is no way to escape it. They will see the property had been listed at a lower price, and immediately in their mind, what is it that there is wrong with the house?
Right.
You cannot escape that. Therefore, what you're preaching here, get ahead of the market, is the key. Because if the seller is not motivated, there is absolutely nothing you can do.
That's right. That's right. Firstborn, second spouse, third realtor. Todd Bailey, you're up. Hawk, you're on deck. Emma, you're in the hole. Let's go.
John, do you have a good script for somebody can make an offer?
If they don't know your home is for sale, they can't make an offer.
Say that again.
If they don't know your home is for sale, they cannot make an offer.
Okay.
If you're fishing with your bait out of the water, you are not going to catch any fish. In order to get a fish in the boat, you got to get them on the hook. Getting them on the hook is getting the offer. Hawk, talk to me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing this. I've used some of this just kind of naturally, and this was just a great reminder. We were able to sell one of our houses in 2 days because we sold it and priced it just right, and it full list offer. And then I used some of my other marketing chops to just make it look even sexier. And then as a buyer's agent, I use new construction all the time as a way to negotiate it down. We have a property right now we're negotiating down, we're like 15% below what they're asking. And we may end up at 14%, but that's okay.
That's right. Buyers pay more for new construction than they will for your home. Yeah. It's a fact. Get over it.
Yeah. And with their buy downs and everything, it's a great, as a seller's agent, be warned of that. As a buyer's agent, use that to your advantage.
100%.
All day long.
100%. Emma, talk to me.
Mine was on kind of age as well. When you said about the comparables, obviously location, size, amenities, condition, do you include age in that? Because in a lot of our neighborhoods, we'll have something that's brand new or built in the last 10 years with a home built in the 60s.
I look at it, right? And yes, we would include that. It's something that we do look at, right? So if I rewrite the document, I can add that. Thank you for bringing that up. However, an older home that's been completely remodeled and everything is new, does that make it less desirable?
Or if it's remodeled and it's all high-end finishes,
That's right.
you know, it's a whole different ball game, especially if you have a little bit more or a little less square footage, but
Yep.
everything is just such high end that there is no other home on the market like it. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're not interrupting, JoJo. You're participating, and I love it. Go ahead, Kelly, Sean, and Darren, and Brian, and then we got to jump. Let's go.
John, to your point about bringing all the comps, even if you think they're irrelevant, I started bringing my computer with me on every appointment because, I was toting this packet of everything. I'm like, what if they want to look at this? What if they ask this? So I just started, bringing up files and saving them in the folder. And then I just bring my computer with me.
Great idea. Great idea. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Sean.
What I find is that organically, and I don't know how everybody's CMA is constructed, when I get the median and the average to organically be about within $10,000, 5,000 would be great. But when you get those really close, you're really close to an appraised value. So if you're 30 grand between those, something is off. You've got a condition, like a pool or one less garage or something in one of your comps that isn't matching up.
Well done. Thank you for that. Darren.
Hey, John, when you were in production, how often were you watching the competition? Let's say you have 10 listings right now. Was this something you were taking a peek at every day to see what was hitting the market and doing some analysis, or were you just only doing it at key points like 2 weeks, 30 days, 45 days?
A really good question. Both. Looking at it every day when I have an active listing, I'm paying attention to other properties that are on the market in that same price range, because if one of them goes under contract, I'm calling the seller. Brian.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned looking at comps within 10%. I've always kind of been looking within 20% because there hadn't been a lot on the market.
Yeah.
The market was moving so quickly for such a long time.
Right.
Now we have a lot more sitting on the market longer.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those are way more powerful than the solds because it shows what you have more competition data that you're fighting against. And so I think, okay, in a market with more supply, it's okay to shrink it, that deviation.
I agree with Brian. Right. And talk to your appraisers and see what rules they go by. Matthew Kemps.
Brian said exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, good. All right. I'm late for a coaching appointment, so got to jump. I hope you guys got great value today, and go get them. Make it a great day. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
All right.
Good day, everyone.
Thanks, JD.
All right, buddy. Have a great day, everybody.